Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name's Carter. I love talking about movies and a bunch of other stuff, mostly movies. And I just got out of seeing Matthew Vaughn's Argylle. Now, I'm a pretty big fan of Matthew Vaughn, actually. I have a Kingsman Secret Service poster right there, and I'm one of the 3 people that actually enjoys Golden Circle. The Kingsman didn't really quite do it for me, but I love his X-Men First Class and Kick-Ass and a few of his other films that he's done over the years. And as much as some people love to hate on it, I love his hyper-stylized, hyper-violent, crass sense of humor, style, and direction. All of that out of the way. Basically, plain and simple, I'm a pretty big Matthew Vaughn fan. This is another Matthew Vaughn spy movie about a writer who writes, and apparently the stuff she writes is actually real, and so she goes on this massive espionage adventure with Sam Rockwell. Starting out with the positives of Argylle, the biggest compliment I can give the movie is that it is unabashedly an interesting and unashamed Matthew Vaughn vision. They've been marketing it as the twisted mind of Matthew Vaughn. It's not very twisted. It is extremely interesting and actually very strange at some points. There's a lot of really interesting rumors going on online. From what I could see, not a lot of them were true, especially in the last month. But it just feels like another Matthew Vaughn movie. However, it is a little bit neutered. I'll get to that in my mixed/negatives. But the compliment I can give that's right out of the gate that I noticed is the cast. The cast is phenomenal. Bryce Dallas Howard actually does a pretty good job. She has done a really excellent job with her Mandalorian directed episodes. It's been a while since I've seen anything in her acting. The last thing I saw was Jurassic World. This film actually has kind of a really funny, I don't know if it's on purpose, tongue-in-cheek moment about the running in heels bit from Jurassic World. It pokes fun at that pretty well, and I thought that was really funny. And I really enjoyed her role in this film. She does a really good job of playing someone who's so confused, such a fish out of water, but is really trying hard and is struggling to do the right thing and get sucked into this espionage world. But the standout here for me was easily Sam Rockwell. I have loved Sam Rockwell ever since I was 10 years old watching Iron Man 2, and he pops up, maybe I was 9 or 10 years old, and he pops up as Justin Hammer, and I was like, this dude is amazing. This dude is the GOAT. And I've loved Sam Rockwell ever since. I've really enjoyed a lot of his roles, and he always brings such a fun time and charisma to his roles. Unless it's 2016 Poltergeist, then we don't really talk about that. However, I loved him in this movie. He just gives it 110%. He's having so much fun, and I'm sure he used stunt doubles, but he really commits to things here. There's a lot of scenes where you can see him just take a fall, and it looks just like Sam Rockwell. And so that was a pretty big compliment I can give, is most of the cast really tried hard here. Bryan Cranston was a ton of fun. Samuel L. Jackson really isn't in it quite a bit. And same with Henry Cavill. I was really hoping for a lot of Henry Cavill. Unfortunately, a lot of his scenes are in the trailers, and they do a weird thing where it kind of cuts between Sam Rockwell and Henry Cavill at points. And it worked a lot of the time for me, at least in the beginning, but it kind of gets old after a while, and it just gets a little redundant with that bit and with that joke. I know what they're going for, but I don't think it quite worked. And another thing that I can give the movie, this is totally me personal, right here, my personal opinion talking here, it goes for everything. It just takes aim and throws everything at the wall and sees what sticks. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. There's a million reveals in this movie. Some of them you can see coming. There was one that was fairly obvious, but there was a few moments in here where I was genuinely surprised, and I had a really fun time, and there's a ton of action sequences, and so it really is just a Carter movie. Very heavy on the action. There's some comedy in here that really works. However, there was a bunch of dumb stuff that didn't really sit well with me, but overall, this was a movie that I felt was pretty enjoyable. Would I ever watch it again? I don't know, but Sam Rockwell was the MVP of this film. You can just tell he's having such a great time. And this movie is unashamedly itself. There's dance numbers, there's an ice skating fight scene that was really, really fun and unique. Even if there's I hate that I do this, the film, I don't know, the film student in me, or the Honest Trailers CinemaSins filth that I was when I was 12 is she's missing oil on her dress, in that scene, continuity error. Yes, it's riddled with continuity errors, editing problems, most likely, reshoots, plot holes, and so I will talk about that in a second. But if you love just dumb action movies, kind of like The Beekeeper that premiered a few weeks ago, you'll probably like this one. It is a lot tamer than The Beekeeper when it comes to language and action and violence and gore. There pretty much is no gore in this film, and there's not a lot of language. But I liked the performances a lot more in this film, and it had a lot more style than The Beekeeper. Going into the mixed here, a lot of the action sequences were just kind of like paint by the numbers. Some of them were very, very stylistic, like a scene in a hallway with a ton of smoke. However, because there's so much smoke, you can't really see what's happening, which kind of sucked. But it was still pretty fun, creative, and inventive, and I liked what they did with it, even if it didn't quite work for me. Again, the skating scene that I mentioned was pretty fun, but the biggest mix for me was that this movie seemed like it was shot for art. If you know Matthew Vaughn's style, pretty much ever since Kick-Ass, he's done, maybe besides First Class, like exclusively hardcore, rated R, hyper-violent, very crass, goes for it in his films. In this film, there was just a random F-bomb, not a lot of violence and gore, but you can tell maybe some headshots, some other violence that was like edited down to more appeal for audiences. And that was pretty weird for me, and that stuck out kind of like a sore thumb. This is a movie that goes for it, very over the top, very hyper stylized. If it doesn't work for you, it won't work for you. I can see why people really don't like this movie. And getting into my negatives, the pacing and just the runtime is brutal. It feels like it's about to end about 18 times, and it just keeps going on and on and on, and introducing more characters, introducing more things, and I feel like they really could have whittled down on the runtime. There's a lot of scenes in here that could have been shortened, even if it's just like a quick little joke or an extended bit. Sometimes the comedy really didn't work for me, and so I was enjoying the action a lot more than the comedy, as some of the comedy kind of just fell flat. And there's just like so much espionage, like one thing to the next to the next. There's a whole sequence in the Middle East that I think really should have been cut. It would save so much time. There is like an important character moment for maybe like 2 minutes, but then the rest of it really could have been chopped up, and you just get to the third act. And so I found that it kind of ruined the pacing quite a bit right there. Again, like I mentioned before, Henry Cavill really isn't in this movie very much. John Cena is not in this movie very much. So a lot of the cast members that they're selling you on the poster and the marketing, really not in this movie. The two main characters, Sam Rockwell and Bryce Dallas Howard. And then you have the secondary characters with Bryan Cranston and Moira from Schitt's Creek / Kevin McAllister's mom. I'm forgetting the actress. But yeah, those are the main characters in this film. That's it. And so for a long time, it feels like it's like dangling a carrot in front of you. Like there's this reveal coming, and it's coming, and like stuff that's happening that's weird. And the payoff is weird and wacky. Did it quite work for me? I'm not sure yet. I honestly am not sure. This is a movie where, again, like I mentioned, I feel like I just keep going back to this. Everything is so over the top. Did it work? Did the twist work? Did all the reveals work? I don't know. Were they good? Were they bad? I think they weren't very good, but did I still enjoy the movie? Yeah, it was a fun date night with Mallory, so I really can't complain here. Did I have a good time with Argylle? Yes, I did. However, it is riddled with issues, and I can see why people really don't like it. It is definitely a weaker film than most of Matthew Vaughn's filmography. I would say I'd easily enjoy The Golden Circle more than this one, and I know people really don't like The Golden Circle, so might be a controversial opinion, but I still enjoyed myself with Argylle. Overall, I'd give it like a 6 out of 10. Like I mentioned, it is like almost my type of movie. It's very fun, over the top, a lot of jokes, very rapid fire. However, the pacing in the last half really kills a lot of it. Feels like it was neutered quite a bit. And if it didn't have Sam Rockwell, this movie would probably be like a 4. I'm going to be honest. Sam Rockwell really elevates this movie with his performance and his enthusiasm, his charisma, his energy. I know I repeated myself quite a bit throughout this review, but this is a movie where it's going to be a little difficult to review because there's so much going on and leaving the theater. I'm like, wow, so much happened, and it's just like hitting you rapid fire over the head with so many things. The CGI is so bad. That is another negative that I just thought of. The effects are awful. Not blaming anyone on the VFX team, because it's most likely that they're overworked, underpaid, and they're doing crunch time. So, I mean, could they have done a little bit better? Of course. However, the situation, I'm sure, is atrocious for them. So, again, have you seen Argylle? If you have, what did you think about it? Did you like it? Have you seen the post-credit scene? Because that was wild. So weird. So weird. I still don't have a microphone. I am ordering a cord for a Yeti I got from Waving Knave. So thank you very much, Waving Knave. And yeah, if you've seen Argylle, let me know what you thought about it down in the comment section below. As always, I'm Carter Walker. Have a great rest of your night.